Alright guys, just before the video starts, could you do me a big favour? Click that subscribe button and then click the bell icon to receive notifications of future posts. And also, if you want, become a member and support my channel that way by clicking join. Thank you and enjoy the video. Alright guys, listen, today's video is very interesting and something unique to this channel. Obviously, you know, I don't normally post what I earn, any updates on Uber, taxis, general stuff like that. But today, me and the lads went down to Tarran cab care in the Wirral. Speak to the owner, Stephen. He's very knowledgeable about EVs, plug-in hybrids, technically the future of taxi driving. He sits on a few committees with the local councils and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be dead interesting to have a little gap with him and share his knowledge and share his information with yous. It goes on for about half an hour, but it is some really good info. The topic flutters a bit, so I'd watch all of it, just so some of the information you might not find interesting, some of the information you find very interesting. One thing I will add, I don't know why, but about 2 minutes into the clip, the video starts like shaking, and it's not the epic skills of Tony the cameraman who's recording on my phone, because I'm not a professional whatever this is YouTuber, but I don't know why, but the video starts glitching out, but the audio's spot on, guys. So after about 2 minutes the video shakes, but just ignore the shake for us and just listen to the audio, guys, honestly. But yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Obviously make sure you subscribe, like this video, give it a good share, it's very informative, and yeah, hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace out. Alright everyone, so yeah, I've just arrived at Tarran cab care in Wirral with the boss Sean. He's a bit of a expert in EV vehicles and plug-in hybrids, and he knows a lot about like the infrastructure coming in, and obviously is it the CAS zones, isn't it? CAS zones, yeah. The CAS zones all coming in Manchester, possibly coming to Liverpool in the future. Yeah, and obviously I just wanted to share his knowledge with yous, and yeah, so just to start, obviously introduce yourself.
Yeah, so we're based in the Wirral, but we do sales across the UK, supplying cars to the taxi trade and taxi trade only, so we get massive discounts. I am an EV specialist because that's all we do. We don't sell diesels, brand new diesels anymore, because I feel that the industry's changing now. There's nothing wrong with diesel, of course, but with the infrastructures and the CAS charges coming in, when the Euro 6 policies do come into Liverpool city regions, there will be a time given for diesel engines to be okay. Yeah. So if you're going to invest in a vehicle, invest in the right vehicle. But however, is the problems with emissions and diesel engines is prices of road tax per year. So likes of all our 100% electric cars now, they're all completely free and will remain free until the diesel sales start dropping out, because the diesel cars are paying for these types of electric vehicles. So the government has come in and said, right, well, we've got a vehicle over £40,000, they're going to tax you for 3 years until the vehicle's out of that bracket, and then the car becomes free again. Mm-hmm. So just like this Transit here, we're looking at, this is a plug-in Transit Custom. It's an electric vehicle, 100% electric driven, with an average range of 30 miles of electric. Now, drivers would go, oh, that's no good for us, I need more miles. But the thing is with these electric vehicles, because predominantly electric, let's say hybrid cars and plug-ins, an engine works the wheels. Yeah. This does not. So Ford designed this vehicle with London TfL because they want a vehicle that is 100% electric and drive in the zones with no engine on at all, but able to do miles. Yeah. So this vehicle can just drive all day on full petrol. We've done it. We've drove from here to Glasgow and back, doing 34 miles per gallon, 34.8 miles per gallon, doing 65 miles per gallon, and we had all our electric that we had when we came back. And we demonstrated the same car to drivers in Glasgow at the last show.
So just to clarify, so obviously it's like a hybrid.
It is a hybrid.
It is a hybrid. Yeah. So, but it switches and between electric and...
We can choose which power mode that we want to drive. So say we were going into the city in London, which eventually what happens in London will be here.
Yeah.
There will be no engines on in any of the areas at some point. So that has been designed to save electricity, to then drive in the area and then put the engine in to charge it back up.
Right.
So the good thing is with this car is it can charge its own self back up. So if you have not got a driveway or any charge facilities, you literally just put it up to straight petrol mode. You drive your miles, you can drive 0.8 miles and you get the same mile that you drive back on a mile that you drive.
So if it shows that I'm averaging 35 on the clock, I'm actually doing 70. Because you're kind of like doubling the miles.
You're doubling the miles because if the engine is a miles per gallon, so that's only when engine's on.
Yeah.
So to get the true miles, the miles driven and the miles available, you add them together.
Yeah, so if I drove 10 miles, 5 miles would be petrol engine, 5 miles would be electric.
You drive back on.
So if it comes up on the computer 35 mile gallons, it's actually 70. So it's really good then, isn't it?
It is,
Very
but
clever.
it's based on how it's driven at the time. So let's say if you store 5 miles, you use that same example. If you've got all your heats and blows and start to drive like a bit of a dickhead, then of course you won't get 5 miles.
Yeah.
It's always, an electric vehicles is a prediction of how you've driven it last. Okay? So the batteries that you store in the winter time when the batteries drop out, you'll notice that your range is lower in the morning, but the miles that you actually drive, you don't lose the miles that you've driven because we're always slowing down. So that's what a hybrid is about. It's about regeneration.
And you haven't got the inconvenience of having to find a charging point and plug it in and stuff, where currently the infrastructure is still quite behind.
Especially in this area, but we're going to get better. So this is the good thing, is like with the plugins, it's just like charging your car when you put your kettle on. It's the same as electric, you just plug it in. You don't need a charger for a plug-in because you've got an engine and you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So anybody who's doing miles that wants to go to full electric and you want a minibus, especially with the prices that we're knocking these out at 40,500 quid, there isn't a vehicle that can compete.
Right. Okay. If I said to you now, like an Uber driver's just starting out and he's just got his plate, his badge and everything else, and he's looking to get in a car, would you advise diesel, hybrid or electric?
I would, the way we are right now, if they've got no infrastructures and no charging method, I would put them into hybrid, not to a diesel.
Right. But if they haven't got a home charger kind of thing, do you mean? Yeah.
If there's no way for them to charge, then I would say a hybrid.
Yeah.
Or a vehicle, they said the 7-seater, because we can clearly charge this vehicle just by the petrol engine.
Yeah.
But the MPG is low.
Right. Yeah.
Until it's charged up, and then you put it back onto hybrid. But there is facilities which the councils and governments are well aware of now, that there will be, from February, funding to have charging networks put in for terrace houses. Right. So eventually this is going to change. But if you asked me last year, what would you do? I would say, okay, you've got no facilities, you're worried about range, then you get hybrids.
Yeah.
If you're in the larger vehicles, you need to have, like the big cars, so people who are like your size, the little small hybrids are not suffice for you because it's not comfortable for you or the customer, and of course you want to have your EV range. So you have to get the bigger cars. If you go over about 1.14, 1,500 kilos and you're into a 2,000 kilo car, you need a plug-in because the MPG can't compete with the diesel engine.
Right, okay.
So when we go into a standard diesel minibus, 2.5 kilograms, you look at this vehicle, this is a short wheelbase and it's an EV and it's a damn sight heavier.
Yeah.
So it gives us restrictions what we can do with these vehicles, for hackneys and public hire, more so than private hire.
So like, would you, like when you get home from your shift, would you plug this in?
Yeah.
And then when you start your day tomorrow, you've already got an advantage of like...
It's 100%, and then you can literally just put it straight into hybrid and take your power slowly over the day. Right. Whereas we wouldn't need to charge it, we would, or at the end of the shift, you go, oh, do you know what? I've still got 10 miles here. Might as well switch the engine off. Boom, it's a full electric. Run it completely out, and then plug it into your house in the morning when you go home, and she's fully charged again.
Right. Okay.
So it gives you the best of both worlds. So plug-ins are for people who are worried about range,
Yeah.
where you can drive in EV and better MPG in the larger vehicles, where hybrids tends to be the smaller car, which is lighter, where the MPG
Like the Kia Neros or what hybrid.
Kia Neros, the Ioniqs,
Yeah.
you know, all those types of vehicles, even the Tories.
I struggle to fit in either of them.
Exactly, because you're a big lad,
Yeah.
and I'd be going, yeah, you're a plug-in Skoda Superb IV.
Well, I've got a Skoda Superb now,
Yeah.
and it's a 2014, which
It's
means
Euro 5.
which means when the cars comes in Manchester, Greater Manchester, I'll get charged £7.50 a day.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, these grants which Greater Manchester, they started their grants back in 2018 and applied for the money, so they're way ahead of other councils, where our own areas have literally just been at home picking the nose and flicking them in the air.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that's...
Yeah, so is this Liverpool, yeah?
We're talking about all these councils.
Yeah.
You know, Cheshire and West seem to be a little bit more clued up. Halton is very, very, you know, EV conscious.
Wow,
We did an electric
Well,
show.
like Knowsley, Sefton.
Those in Sefton, you can't even speak to them, unfortunately, mate. So, that's the truth of the matter, you know. I'll always say it as it is. You know, I've asked to go on to the Liverpool City Regions Committee meeting to educate the people on these panels, because unfortunately these are councillors, they're not basically people who've got any knowledge of how vehicles work or the infrastructures, and I feel that it's time they need to listen to somebody who specialises in vehicles, sells them, works with them, and what we can and can't purchase, afford, finance or run.
Are you involved with Manchester committees or something, aren't you? Or
Yeah, well,
you've had discussions with them, haven't you?
I speak to Andy, and I was on the last panel meeting before COVID with the Dynamo taxis. So, you know, we do the electric Dynamo taxi for Dynamo, we're the agents.
Oh, right.
And obviously we're trying to get the electric vehicles into those areas, but COVID's kind of like just messed things up. It's slowed the procedures right down. But, you know, it's just like the Dynamo taxi is that vehicle, that shape is finished because Nissan have now moved on to a bigger vehicle where they've got to start from scratch.
Right.
But, you know, when you're going into the Dynamo, let's talk about that. It's a good sized vehicle. It's like a TX4 size vehicle. It's got a better wheelchair accessible. And you go, oh, it's a dinky, it's skinny. No, it's not. It's the same interior space as a TX4 because the roof and then the wings flare out, but the inside flare in. So you've got the same capacity, but you've got a completely flat floor. And that's got a 7-point anchor point for wheelchairs. You know, majority of wheelchair accessible vehicles are only 2 points and then just a lap and shoulder. So there has been like crash tests and there's been people killed in side-loading vehicles because they haven't got 4 anchor points on the floor. We can't do 4 anchor points on the floor on 100% electric vehicles, purely because you can't drill over the batteries. So we're very restricted with weight, drill zones, and it's going to get very, very hard for Hackney drivers in the near future because the electric vehicles, looking at the price structures of what a minibus is, you're in the £70,000 basic to £100,000, and then if you put a conversion in it, crash it in about 3 or 4 directions to make sure your conversion's not going to explode. It's an expense that the trade can't afford.
Fair enough. And also wanted to ask you, I don't know if you know about this too much, but I know a lad who's on, he drives a hybrid Kia Nero, and when the E10 come in, he's noticing that it's costing him a lot more to run it compared to the old petrol. And it's something to do with the petrol watered down now or something?
It's correct. So it's water based to make it more environment friendly. What you'll find is in the warmer months that will start to improve. It's just because it's cold.
Really,
so it's a short term, it's temperature related.
Okay, because he even said he's looking at going back to a diesel like settler car.
It's only in the cold weather.
Is that where it changes?
It'll improve with
back in the summer
because it's got more water in the field.
So, is there anything else you want to mention, or is there anything you want to get off your chest?
People with a driveway.
What?
People with a driveway. What's the best option?
People with driveways, yeah, you should certainly definitely go for either a plug-in or an electric vehicle.
So full electric or a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
If
you definitely got a driveway, you just need to go straight into that.
You just jump straight
into it, especially the people who are in the larger vehicles. You have to either be in a plug-in or electric vehicle, because we're not going to get fuel efficient just hybrid vehicles, because it's down to weight, heat, what you put in it, and diesel is an economical fuel.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just the standard. So going into WLTP standards, so a person, you could come to me and say, well, my CO2s was 140 grams on your car, which is probably about right back in 2015.
Yeah.
We tested your car now on the standards, which is now, it would be over 200 and something grams. You think that you're doing a good job because you're in a low CO2 back in 2015, but each year CO2s have gone up by 20, or down by 20. It's the opposite way around, it goes down, and the cars had to perform to the new CO2s.
So that's why it's getting more better every time you come in.
So I can demonstrate that on this vehicle here. So back in 70 plates, that's 2020 December, that Transit was 50 CO2s, no road tax whatsoever, and no charges whatsoever. This year now, they are 70 CO2s, and it's the same vehicle. Why? It's because the conditions have changed, the tests are higher, the CO2s have to be lower, so the vehicles have to perform better. So people who buy diesels around town now are going to struggle in newer vehicles because they have to work harder to keep clean.
Yeah.
So oil changes will be more regular, DPFs getting blocked, sensors going off, your dashboard, it's unfortunate you're going to look like a Christmas tree in Blackpool, is the best way of putting it. Whereas if you're in an airport just doing long distances, you're not having to regen, your engine is hot. Yeah. So this is another thing with Hackney drivers, is they're always stop, so the engine doesn't get hot. So if you've got a DPF or an AdBlue, it gets blocked faster because it's not clean in it. And unfortunately, councils don't even understand. I go to committee meetings, Wirral Borough Council, I get asked all the time. Sorry about that. Okay. What is Euro 4 and what is Euro 5 and Euro 6? And then you go to the next committee meeting, then you've got the different people, and they ask the same questions again. Yeah. It's because these are councillors, and they literally, the procedures that they do is I'll go on that committee meeting. Yeah. They need to educate themselves to make decisions about the trade the way it needs to move now. It's the only way that things will improve in the near future.
Cool. And also, I don't know if you're aware, or do you know, does Liverpool is getting a CAS eventually, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's...
But do you know any ideas like time frames for Liverpool, or not really?
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, the people we sell to and other councils, the governing body is called DEFRA. Yeah. And they make the decisions. It's down to each area to decide when and how. Okay. Yeah. So Liverpool City Regions, off the grapevine, I read it the other day, and they said it's March. The DEFRA's coming in. Liverpool City Regions will all unite. I've asked to be a part of that, to voice our private hire, public hire, to educate the people, to try and make good decisions, to understand the trade's needs, because they're always talking about public transport, but the taxi trade is not on the agenda, and it should be. And I'm very passionate about my job, and we need to stand firmly to secure our future and our families. So the only way forward is to literally put it out there, as we sell so many EVs, and that's all that we do, is we need to say, well, we can do it, but we need this. Just like with the charging points for the terraced houses, we need a bay like a disability. We're public transport, we need that parking space to be there and available for our driver to use whenever he needs it.
Sweet.
Okay?
Cool.
If you were in a Euro 5 car now,
Yeah.
would you be looking to change?
Absolutely, definitely. The reason being is the vehicle's going to drop in value.
Yeah.
Finance companies are now stopped doing Euro 5 unless you do larger deposits. So I work for Blackwall's doing their finance, and they are very particular on the status of the vehicle and the HL.
Really, yeah, that's interesting, yeah.
So, you know, a lot of garages will find it very hard to get Euro 5 unless you're going into your old cars which have value, because, you know, you're like all your performance cars and stuff like that with engines are going to go up in price because they're not made. If we go into your motor factors in your garages, as production stops on normal vehicles, clutches, flywheels, DPS, injectors, all going to go up in price because there isn't a demand for it.
Which means then owning a second-hand Euro 5 diesel car will be dead expensive to own as well.
Yeah, because it's going to be charged, it's going to be a lot more expensive.
Supply and demand, isn't it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and we've noticed it from our Hackneys, our E7 taxis, the prices of those parts, because they're not mass produced anymore, and then the cab companies, because they're not making all these switches, everything is more or less doubled in price because there isn't people mass producing anymore. It's only cheap if you mass produce a product, because you're doing it that often. The parts become.
So then eventually, in a couple more years, as more electric come out, their parts are going to start getting cheaper and stuff, because there's going to be so many parts everywhere.
And you know, it's just like the technology in the cars, like this, the Ford Transit is new Ford technology. This car does not need to go to a main dealer. This car comes up with an engine management light. The dealer that sold the car will contact you through the car and say, well, we've got a problem. Let's see if we can fix it while you're driving it. And that is what's going to happen throughout the brands of cars. You know, so there's so much stuff going on, and it's like, you know, it's just like I've got the Ioniq 5, and the technology, it's connected to the satellites. If somebody tried to steal that car, they're snookered. You weren't able to steal these cars, you will be found, because they're always connected through.
It's clever, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's all really clever, so it's really interesting.
So just to summarise, if you're Uber driver, you'd probably best go and plug-in hybrid or electric.
If you've got a driveway at the moment, plug-in or electric. If you haven't got one right this moment, hybrid. I think hybrid is a good investment if it's driven correctly. You know how to drive vehicles. Just let the car slow down.
So like the plug-in hybrids can still take you on to the future.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so do you reckon in the future it'll be like plug-in hybrids and EVs kind of still going into the future?
Definitely.
Before it's EV only?
The reason why I'll say that is because just like we've just ordered Santa Fe to tow our caravan, which is a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
My missus only drives 30 miles to work and back, and the vehicle can do 40 miles of electric with no engine on. So the normal commute for the normal person, the plug-in is a perfect product.
So that's why you think the plug-in hybrids won't be going anywhere? They're
staying, because there's lots of people who don't do any miles and the engine is never on any helm.
Yeah,
so
clever.
it gives you the best of both worlds, and you go, oh, I'm going to go and see Auntie Dorothy in London. Let's turn the engine on and drive.
Yeah,
so it works out really good. Fuel is here to stay, but it's to what prevail. Is the government going to tax us through, you know, how much fuel duty is the government going to lose because everyone goes to EVs? How are they going to get that money back? This is the question which I ask, and I always overthink everything and think about the future, not just now.
It's just what the price of fuel's going to be, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
So,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
going to be like $5 a litre now in the
well,
future
you
if
know,
there's that many diesel cars.
I've been told by certain people that we're definitely going to hit £1.75 a litre in diesel very soon.
Yeah, and it's just going to go up, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the diesel and the fuel's going to split off a little bit, because, you know, we can't get hybrids in the larger vehicles to compete with the diesel, and people love their diesels and they love their long distance.
Oh, you're about hybrids as a non-plug-in hybrids?
Yeah, even hybrids are fine. But, you know, I ask yourself this question, why is it happening?
Yeah.
We've got all these floods, we've now got cancer between every There's 4 people here now, one of us is going to die. Why? Because we choose.
Cheesy, that,
Oh, well, it's true, right?
It's him in the Euro 5.
The reasons is we can actually choose what we eat, and if we smoke, we can't choose what we breathe.
Yeah, that is very true.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I've just had a brand new baby, and I've just lost my brother on Sunday through cancer.
Jesus. Sorry.
And to see what he went through, and this is attached to climate change.
Yeah.
That's the top and bottom of it.
Yeah.
Because I used to live in Wallasey, I had a house literally right next to a bus stop on a main road with traffic lights, and I had asthma, and my curtains were black with soot because I had buses outside, fire engines coming past, and now I've moved more into the countryside, and I'm a lot healthier.
Yeah, for breathing better than
for
ever.
breathing,
Yeah.
and of course this has got to happen for the cities. The drivers need to literally go, hang on a minute, my kids are going to die if we keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We've got to change and make the stand now.
On a important note, does anyone want to buy a Euro 5 Skoda Superb? Give us a shout, yeah?
Well, you know, we're always there, you know, it's people that are very scared to come in and talk to me, or salespeople, because, you know, salespeople want to sell you a car.
Yeah.
The driver who's just been in, which I've been with him for 3 hours, and talking about different things, he's a happy driver. And I'm not here to sell him a car, I'm here to tell him what's available, and if he wants to do that, because if I spend the time with the driver like I am with you guys now, this information sinks. Word of mouth is the strongest form of advertisement.
And also the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
And also Tony's
Yeah.
been proper bigging you up and out.
Yes, it's been great.
Yeah,
but you know, the way
Obviously
we
a fan.
do it, we've got different funding circles and stuff which, you know, I'm sure will be advertised.
That was another question. Like, when's it come feasible? Like, if you wanted to buy one of these, it's a £10,000 deposit. We're talking about an average taxi driver's not going to have that.
So we, with time, and a lot of our drivers just repeat business, and they move into the bigger and the larger vehicles. You know, we understand that, you know, we want them to move into that. I mean, I always say to you, if you're in a minibus, you've got 2 wives. Yeah, you've got one wife there, which is like, and then you've got the other one at home with the kids.
Yeah.
And it's the only way of putting it. You literally start off with a girlfriend, you build up, you get your car paid off, and then you use the equity to move into the bigger vehicle.
So as an example, Tony, after his 3 years are up, you could sell that and put the deposit down on it.
Exactly, and that's what they tend to do.
Yeah, just creep it up.
You
that
know,
way.
the way the
Starts
industry's
small.
going now, we need expenses to offset profit.
Yeah.
We use that to our advantage. At the end of the day, we've got to move with the way the industry's going, and if we don't, then the cars are going to become driverless. And we need to get the EVs in, no matter whatever happens.
And then obviously the councils will look at it and go, well, all our drivers are on electric anyway, so what's the point in getting these outside automatic
Electric cars.
electric cars, no drivers kind of thing?
You know, I think, you know, the market is more going towards owner-driver, because if I was a settle car company, literally spending £40,000-50,000, it's not viable, because your cost to hire it would be so expensive.
Yeah.
Now that's not a bad thing, you know, settle cars is a great thing to get an experience of where do you want to do the trade, and is it working for you. So it's a good stepping stone to go on. So when people come to me who've got no inkling, I'll tell them to go on a settle car.
Yeah.
Come back to me, because if I'm going to get them a car, I want it to be for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm investing my time and money with them, it needs to be for the right decision, because then if I get the car back, which they can have back at any time, then I've got to find a new driver for that car.
Yeah.
It doesn't make viable sense for me to commit to a driver if he's not committed to himself.
Spot on. So just to summarise, because Tony's arms are getting tired, I can see in the corner of my eye. You alright, Tony?
I'm alright.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in obviously getting on the electric, hybrid, stuff like that, give your company and yourself a shout.
Yeah.
All the details will be in the YouTube channel, yeah?
Yeah.
And that, is that everything spot on?
Yeah.
Covered most basics, yeah? Thumbs up, yeah? Go on, you can stop it now.
Do you want to have a little walk around this?
Oh, do you want to have a little
See a
show?
proper look at it.
Let's have a look. 27 minutes, Jesus. Well,
You know, I can download.
you know what though, it is nice though, isn't it? So there's one of his buses.
Send us a link and I'll just share it.
Superb. Lovely jubbly. Oh, and there's a taxi thing there. Spot on, guys. Listen, hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments if you need any more questions. I'm sure Sean will be able to help you out as well. Peace out.